All right. I do want to cover some of the Madison, Wisconsin insanity because setting up an autonomous zone, this is according to a friend of mine, Daniel Buck. He's actually who co-founded Chalkboard Review with me. We're going to get into that, and then Francesca Hong. Radio crew, welcome back from the commercial break. We've got just a little bit out of the Midwest because tomorrow we've got the Michigan primary. Tomorrow we've got the Arizona primary. Very, very exciting stuff. And so I want to dive into a little bit of Michigan, a little bit of Wisconsin, and a little bit of violence because, you know, it's Michigan and Wisconsin. So first and foremost, over in Michigan, Abdul El-Sayed, he is running against Haley Stevens, the kind of Chris Farley, weird Biden morph him up Power Ranger, who's just a very, very strange person. She's lost some momentum. She gained a little bit of momentum because Abdul El-Sayed is not a man of the people. His wife is a landlord in the Middle East, and he's never been a real doctor. He's just pretended to be one in a classroom kind of stuff. He's, you know, and also he's a socialist, but don't call him a socialist. He just wants universal health care and the nationalization of assets and to abolish the police and immigration customs enforcement. It's kind of a mess. Well, it doesn't matter because the Dearborn crew has answered. They've put down the stones. They've picked up the ballots. And here's Harry Enton over from CNN's polling analysis crew. This man's going into tomorrow's election in the primaries with all kinds of momentum.
Yeah, I think that tomorrow Abdul El-Sayed will deliver the biggest blow so far against the establishment of the Democratic Party because he is the heavy favorite going into tomorrow. Just take a look at the prediction market odds. Okay, chance to be the Michigan Democratic Senate nominee, Abdul El-Sayed. Look at this. He's up to a 98% chance according to the Kalshi prediction markets, way up like a rocket compared to where he was on April 3rd when he was just a 28% chance just a few months ago. The bottom line is this. You look at all the data that is out there. Abdul El-Sayed is the very heavy favorite going into tomorrow. And of course, he is backed by a lot of folks on the left wing of the Democratic Party. And at this point, as I said at the beginning, he looks tomorrow to deliver the biggest blow so far against the establishment wing. Now,
this is where things get rather funny. So according to the most recent EPIC Epic MRA poll from 7/24 to 7/31, Mike Rogers, who lost to Elissa Slotkin by 0.3%. He's now running in this Senate election against either Abdul El-Sayed or Haley Stevens. In the polling, and we've seen this is a consistent trend here, Haley Stevens, as a Democrat, is up 44 to 42% on Mike Rogers. However, Mike Rogers would theoretically beat Abdul El-Sayed 46 to 43. So this is a very forward primary candidate, lackluster. Now, why am I relying on these polls and these flips? Because so far, everyone's citing special elections or growing trends or prediction markets. Oh, Kalshi said this and that. There have been zero polling upsets going into any election that we have seen in the special election category so far this year. Not a single upset. So going into the election season, if we see this polling trend forward, it's not really going to be looking good for Abdul El-Sayed. And by the way, this isn't just a thing with Abdul. This is also a thing with Michigan. Before we get to kind of that broader Michigan narrative here, I want to talk about the latest scandal for Abdul. Because I told you, whether it's Graham Plattner, of course, I've seen John Fetterman of Pennsylvania call Abdul the Pontiac Plattner, little nod to Detroit there, or whether it's Troy Jackson, these socialist candidates are just chock full of scandals. So according to a Washington Free Beacon financial analysis, and then reported on by our Daily Signal's Pedro Rodriguez, Horace Sheffield III, a prominent Detroit-based pastor and radio host who said he would put his full force behind Democrat Senate candidate Abdul El-Sayed, received $75,000 from the candidate's campaign beforehand, according to this Washington Free Beacon review of finance records. Ecumenical Ministers Alliance, the pastor's nonprofit that Sheffield incorporated in 2010, didn't respond to the Daily Signal's request for comment about the 10 different $7,500 payments from October 21st to June 1st for political consulting from Abdul El-Sayed's campaign. Now, I'm going to step away very quickly here because there's some other interesting bits and pieces here that Pedro found on his own. I'm a radio host, and I'm on Spectrum Air TV as well, some community cable stations around the country. I have done some influence work before, politically, through for example, the Ministry of Truth account. You can see the logo for that up over my shoulder here. For a couple of various groups that I like, that I have allied with before. I really like some of the work that they've been doing. And that wasn't for campaigns or candidates. And the reason is, if it is ever for a campaign or a candidate, I would be in all of the trouble on earth. All of the trouble. Because we are on here out of first WIBC out of Indianapolis, or whether we're out of Aurora or Little Rock, or in Pennsylvania to New York, down to Florida, any of the radio stations that we're on, if I'm on Spectrum Air and I am taking political consultancy fees and then having the guy on, oh, sweet mother of mercy, that is a whole host of financial issues. In fact, we are so intent here on TKC on dotting our I's and crossing our T's with every dot and tittle attached, that I make sure that producer Lou sends out booking requests to each and any time we have a person on the show who is running in an election. Boy, I tell you what, Lou is sending out invitations to the other candidates like it's Charlie Brown sending out Valentines. So interesting here. Now, also of note, Pedro sent this over to me, kind of his analysis on what is a very, very shady candidate. And I'm going to have to hurry here before the radio crew has to head out. Pedro says, look, I don't want to say that this particular pastor is a con artist, because we could say that, Abdul wasn't exactly surging in the support from black leaders in the community, according to, again, a Politico article. He says, quote, but his pattern of taking money from unpopular Middle Eastern candidates in exchange for an endorsement to boost his turnout among voters, especially black voters, certainly qualifies him to be a con artist. In 2018, this same pastor lost his role at another radio station for taking tens of thousands of dollars from Sri Thanadar, the wig and the eyebrows guy. Huh? Also, I believe, lost his he's lost his license. Yeah, so that's a little pay to pray kind of situation here. So excellent work to both the Washington Free Beacon and the Daily Signal's own Pedro Rodriguez for that particular support. Now, I do enjoy this, quote, Lord, help this man win, quote, said Sheffield, to which El-Sayed responded, quote, you can't buy authenticity, end quote. Oh, really? Can't buy it. Okay. Radio crew, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to continue on the live stream. Lots more news. It's the Tony Kinnett Cast here on the Daily Signal, nationally syndicated, first on 93 WIBC. Goodness gracious. Now, this does bring us over to, again, the Wisconsin situation. So what's going on in Wisconsin right now? Well, it's also almost time for the primary election. We've got Michigan and Arizona tomorrow. The Michigan election closes at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 9 p.m. for those areas observing Central time, which means that some of those up in the UP, I believe, check with your local authority. This is my speculation here. I know that the mainland Mitten, Michigan people, they are going to have an 8 p.m. Eastern poll closing time. And I believe some of the UP might close at 9, because I think the UP is in Central time. Yeah, I mean, I spent my time up near Dunbar, Wisconsin. That's right over the border from Iron Mountain. And yeah, they're on Central time. Now, in the meantime, I said Wisconsin's election, it's next week. And Francesca Hong has gone from polling at 2% as the socialist candidate and an aggressive socialist campaign as well. She's now gone from number 2 to essentially being one of the last ones standing. And in the meantime, well, you know what? I don't want to spoil it for you. Here is her big rally push for what all of the Democrats are trying to do right now, which is just claiming that they're really running against Donald Trump.
And our money and our power cannot be given away to the wealthy, but driven towards the things that make each and every one of our lives better. We will defeat Donald Trump and drive a stake through the heart of fascism.
Gonna drive a stake through the heart of fascism. Just, okay. Cheesy, good. I like a socialist that's a bit cheesy. It's about the only thing I like about the socialist, that is. Now, again, she has been seen doing some exciting stuff. Again, there was the situation in which an officer shot an individual, wielding a knife who was trying to allegedly break into vehicles and then ran away from cops through people's backyards. So she went downtown in Madison over on State Street, off to a smaller side street near where there used to be a really, really good place to get coffee and crepes. That's not important. That's just a little fun fact here. Anyway, and then chanted that the officers were guilty for murder. So the socialists did what they always have done. They have now set up an autonomous zone. So you've heard of CHAZ. Now get ready for MELTDOWN. This is according to Daniel Buck. He and I founded Chalkboard Review together back in the day. He is in charge of the Conservative Education Reform Network over at the American Enterprise Institute. He's a heck of a guy. Here is his video of MELTDOWN from Wisconsin today.
Here I am, Madison's autonomous zone. Don't let Marxists rule your city, kids.
As I'm here in the autonomous zone, don't let Marxists rule your city, kids. Absolutely correct. So we got all the tents. It's exciting. It's the autonomous zone. So it's just incredible. And in protest, thrilling stuff. Now, again, this is the same Francesca Hong, who, again, very for abolishing the police. Remember, her campaign came forward and said that she's never said this at all, ever.
Abolishing policing is one segment of reforming and reevaluating our criminal justice system. Using those funds using the funds after we've eliminated the access to eliminating funds for the police needs to be put into rehabilitation services, mental health services for those in prison, making sure that we are looking at decreasing our prison populations.
I love it. So there's kind of a trend, and I don't care if people say that this is mean or inappropriate. It appears that those over on the left, the far left, let's say the socialist left, those who are rather Marxian in their worldviews, if they are a guy and they are very Marxist, then they will go from, the longer they talk, they will go from just being very vague, universal health care and friendliness towards the worker, to like the full communist and like the violent revolutionary kind, where it's like, it's time to shoot all of the Christians and the Jews and re-education camps and money for me and not for thee and seize the means of production and sigh, I'm like that kind of crap. The ladies over on the left all seem to be a variation of AOC on the super progressive left. I'm talking about like the socialist crew. They start talking and they understand like the vibes and like, I just want like loving and caring like vibes, like it's like freedom and packaged in an enigma. And then when they keep talking, there's just nothing going on between both ears. Francesca Hong is the very, very, very same brand of socialist as Claire Alvarez out of New York. And then, of course, AOC, like this is the same brand. Let them talk long enough and they'll try to tell you an accounting firm from Wisconsin set a river on fire in Cleveland down in West Virginia. Because, Cleveland, Ohio, West Virginia, and accounting firms with its drinkable air. My favorite. That kind of crew. Now, the guys on the left, though, Hassan Piker, who, again, behind him has like a newspaper article like with 9/11 on it, like behind him. That Hassan Piker, the open Marxist who dresses like Mao, he's also all the way out there trying to campaign as hard as he can for El-Sayed and for Francesca Hong. So first of all, here he is with El-Sayed talking about how like, white bros are supporting them, but also we don't like the white bros.
Because I've been seeing in Michigan, I've been seeing a lot of clips of like white dude bros that are so stoked to vote for you in the fucking Democratic primaries. Like, these are people.
Sorry about his language. This might get just a smidgen spicy because Hassan has no filter.
That normally never vote at all, let alone in a primary, let alone for a Democrat.
Yeah, we can win these folks back.
Yeah.
We just have to invest in a politics that gets them back.
Okay, so the argument that they're making is that there's a bunch of white dudes that say they're like not going to vote for you and stuff and that you're not going to win. And then he says, well, we can win them back. We just have to spend enough money on them. Yeah, no. Tom Steyer tried this approach. He outspent everybody by a landslide in California. Did it win a bunch of guys to electing him in the primary? Nope. Did not happen. Elon Musk spent a ton of money in Wisconsin to get Supreme Court justices elected. Did that drive a ton of people out to vote? Nope, didn't happen. Money itself doesn't win an election.